Hello everyone, I'm so happy you're here today. We're going to do a mechanism for the inside of any card that goes vertical, and it's going to make it into an interactive card. So here's the one that I did first. So you can see the inside, it pops up with the little swing arm right there. Isn't it cute? Then I took this one with the rainbow set and I made that one. So we're going to use a card that I made similar to this one, but it's in the polished pink. And I'm going to show you how to do the inside part right there. Here's my polished pink version. Isn't that pretty? Now this one, I used the Bermuda Bay. I made this into a shaker card using the Brilliant Rainbows dies. And then the inside, I used the retired celebration paper, which is the Sunshine and Rainbows. So now this one, I'm using the polished pink. I'm also using the supple shimmer paper that's in the January through June mini catalog for my shaker card. But I want to let you know that the paper is in the pink, and then they also show in the catalog on page 67 that it looks like it's a blue piece of shimmer paper, but it's not. It's more like iridescent. Okay, so just to let you know, give you a heads up. So I'm using the pink paper, the shimmer. Okay, so now we're going to turn this card into the pop-up wiper card. Okay, so like I said, you can take any card that's vertical. All right, we're just going to make the mechanism with you guys today. All right, so let me show you all the pieces we're going to use. Let's give you the measurements for just the 3 pieces that you're going to use for your mechanism. This piece is cut at 1 by 4. This piece is cut at 1 by 3.5. And then this square is 1.5 by 1.5. And I seen Beth's card on her wiper card, and oh my gosh, it's so cute. But I wanted to condense it just to give you the video on the mechanism. So, and if you guys want me to do a video on this card or the Bermuda Bay one, just let me know and I'll make a video on that one too. But I'm just wanting to focus on the mechanism part. I'm going to go ahead and do these pieces here with you right now so we can get those out of the way. So now these are the rectangle stitch dies. I know mine looks like all in a shambles, but these are the 3 sizes that I'm using for over here. So now this would be the 4th, 5th, and 6th die from the rectangle stitch dies. So the largest one was using the shimmer paper, then the polished pink for the next size, and then the basic white for the smallest size. Okay, so you can see those are right here, and they all just nestle in together really nicely. And then this piece right here, you're going to come over here to the left-hand side, at least on my magnet board. These are the more narrow rectangle dies. These are all in the same collection too. This is the 2nd and the 3rd set going from the largest. So right here, so you can see here the 2nd and the 3rd. The 2nd one is your glimmer paper or your shimmer paper. And then the next size down is the basic white. Okay, so those are all the dies that I used to cut out my part of the inside, this section right here. So you got this layer and then this layer. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab our paper trimmer. We're going to do some scoring and cutting. So let's start with the 1 by 3.5 inch piece first. This is the easiest one to do. So this is going to be scored at 1, 2, and 3. So now let's grab the 1 by 4 inch piece. We're going to score along the 4 inch side. We're going to score it at 3/4, 2 3/4, and 3.5. Okay, now we're going to slide this down to 1 3/4. So 1 3/4. Remember, we scored it at 3/4, 2 3/4, 3.5. Then we're going to slide it back down to 1 3/4. Now, instead of scoring this the whole length of this strip, we're only going to score half of it. Okay? Then we're going to take the strip again and we're going to slide this down to 2 now, and we're going to grab a pencil. Let me grab my pencil. Okay, so we're at 2, and now we're going to make a little tick mark right here, a little pencil mark. And then we're also going to go back down here to the 3.5 inch score line, and we're going to make a pencil line right there at the 3.5 as well while we're here. Okay, now we're going to turn this strip with this was the first score line that we made at the 3/4 end, and then this is the 3.5. So this, you can tell, is larger than what we have down here. So you're going to turn it with the larger end at the bottom of the, facing the bottom of the trimmer, and we're going to line this edge up at 1/2 inch. So this is 1 inch wide, so we're going to cut it in half. But let me show you here on this score line. I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to outline that pencil line where we scored only in half, so you can see it on camera. So with the larger square or rectangle down here at the bottom edge of our trimmer, we're going to line this up at 1/2 inch, and we're going to cut from the bottom all the way up to that half mark where that score line is, where we scored in half. So let's do that first. So we're going to cut up to that score line. Then I'm just going to grab my paper snips. I'm just going to go ahead and finish cutting that off. Okay. So now, yeah, I did cut a little bit past that, but it's all right. So now you should have your piece that looks like this. So let me fold the score line so you can see what this looks like here. Okay, so this is what the piece should look like. Now we need to find this other pencil mark here, because we're going to make a V shape for this center part of this panel here. So let me grab my ruler, and we're going to measure down from the top where our pencil lines are here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we're going to take our ruler and we're going to measure down at the, this is the top. Let's say this is the top for our pencil line. We're going to measure down 3/4. And we're going to make a pencil mark again at the 3/4 mark right on that score line, right here. Okay, so hopefully you can see my 3 pencil marks. So now we're going to take our Stampin' Pierce mat and we're going to score this point to this point and then this point to this point using our ruler. So let me grab my mat. I have my take your pick tool. Let's grab our little piece here. This is the most difficult part of this card, I think, with this mechanism here. But once you make one, you'll know how to do it. Okay, so we're going to score here. I'm using my stylist end on my take your pick. Then this point down to this point. All right, so now this is what that should look like. So now this should fold up and then these should fold down. So let me kind of guide this in here. These fold down, then this little part at the bottom folds up. So it should fold together. It's a little cumbersome, but once you get that score line folded, it should look like that. Okay? But we got to cut our 1.5 by 1.5 square. So we're also going to have to measure. So let's get our ruler again. We're going to have to measure up. Well, let's first measure across to 3/4. So we're going to have to notch out a little section here on our 1.5 by 1.5. So now we're going to draw our line here to connect that one, and then draw this over here. Oh, that straight line again. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to remove this section of our 1.5 by 1.5 square. So then you should have like an L shape. Okay, so those are all the 3 pieces that we're going to use to make our mechanism for the inside of our card. All right, now we're going to take our card and we're going to open it up. We're going to take our ruler again and our pencil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little mark again with my pencil at 2.5. I'm going to go up 2.5 inches, and I'm going to make that little pencil mark right in the center of that score line. So you can see that that's 2.5 inches from the bottom of my card. Okay, So now we're going to go ahead and add our first piece of the mechanism. So we scored this at 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to add some tear and tape to 3 sections of this piece. We're going to add them. We're going to add tear and tape to both ends. And I'm going to add the tear and tape closest to the score line, as close as I can get. And then I'm going to go back to that other end down here, and I'm going to remove that backing, and I'm going to add another piece just to make sure it's got enough adhesive on it. So I'm going to put another piece right over top of that. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to add a couple pieces on this section right here. I find that it's easier to add the adhesive before we add it to the card, because this is where this panel of the inside is going to be stuck to that section. So it's a little bit easier to go ahead and add your tear and tape to that section too. All right, so let me give you a brief overview. So you're going to put your tear and tape here, and then on this next score line, and then on this end. So we're going to go ahead and take our tear and tape backing off on this end over here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to put this part into the card. So on this end with the tear and tape that we just removed, we're going to put this. Now, you can put this right over top of that. I feel like I want to put that right over top of that pencil mark. So line it up, hopefully it's showing. Line it right up on that score line and press that down. Just like that, okay? And then this section over here on this end, we're going to remove that backing. Okay, then we're going to fold it back. So you got the adhesive right here, right, this square. Then if you fold it back, you got your first score line, and then your second score line, you're going to fold it back and then fold your card over top on that. Okay, so then this is what it should look like with your square in the center of your card. Okay, so keep this piece with the adhesive covered until we get to that section, all right? Don't take it off because it's too early. Okay, so now we're going to add this piece to our next section. Once again, we're going to grab our tear and tape. I'm going to put tear and tape on both ends. And once again, I'm going to put this as close to the score line as possible on both ends. This one I'm going to peel off again. And we're going to put another piece over top of that. It's a little bit bigger than the quarter inch wide tape. So now we're going to start at this end. I'm going to remove the little piece here. Okay, so right where we added this section right here, you're going to add this tear and tape right here. You're going to flip it over, and you're going to line that up right below that first section that we added. So it should look like that, and then press that down. Okay, then fold it over, and then you're going to take your backing off of this side. Now remember, you're going to fold your V shape right here like this. Hopefully you can see that. Then you're going to fold that back just like that. Now this is the trick to folding this part, because remember how we folded that over to grab that end? Now if I was to fold this card over, this is going to stick to this section. So instead of it sticking to that section, I'm going to hold it up on the side, and I'm going to make sure that this gets tucked up underneath this flap. So we're going to close it, and then we're just going to put it on top. So hopefully you can see that. And then once it's underneath that second flap that we just added, then go ahead and close your card. Okay, so then that's your card, your mechanism to your card. Well, we got to add one more piece, but that's the way it should look. Okay, so it should close very nicely. All right, now we're going to take that L shape piece. This is the third piece to this mechanism, and we're going to add some liquid glue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, let me take your pick tool, and I'll show you exactly where we're going to add the glue. only on this triangle piece right here is where we're going to add our liquid glue. And you don't want a lot because you want this to kind of dry fast. And the more glue you add, the more it's going to take to dry. So just a little tiny bit. And then you're going to take your L shape of your piece and you're going to fit that right into that triangle piece. And then once you get it like kind of tacky, I would definitely give it a dry run to make sure it's going to close properly. Okay, so let's close it. Yes, it's closing good. Okay, so then press it down and hold it, because remember we're using the liquid glue. So just hold it. And then this is going to be your mechanism for your arm to swing out and pop out like your wiper part. And that's the whole mechanism right there. I know, it's very complicated, but trust me, once you do it, you're going to see how easy it is, and you can transform any card into an interactive card. It's awesome. All right, now let's go ahead and build our pieces that we're going to pop out, because I do have a tip on this section here, on the arm part right here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stamp a greeting on this one. So let's go ahead and put these two layers together first. And I'll give you my tip on where to stamp, because this is going to actually be tucked up under this layer a little tiny bit. So whatever greeting you add to this section, you want to make sure you're allowing enough space and the size greeting that you want to use. So let me show you the greeting I'm going to use. I'm using the Rainbow of Happiness. I'm using a little something to brighten your day for the inside, this section right here. And then I'm also using the Happy Birthday to You, which is abbreviated HB2U. Isn't that cute? And this is from the Nuts and Bolts. And that's a really nice size of a greeting. You can go a little bit bigger, which you'll see here in a second. All right, now I'm going to move my mat up because I want to use my grid paper and I want you to see how to do this. So I'm going to use my Polished Pink Classic Ink, and I'm going to take that HB2U, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our flap here. Now this is going to have an inch of this greeting pop out wiper part. An inch of it is going to be tucked up underneath this section. So you want to have at least have an idea of where you're going to be stamping. So I just take my grid paper. My grid paper has a ruler here, so I can either just make a pencil line at the 1 inch so I know, or I can just go ahead and stamp it, lining it up on my grid paper at about 1 inch. And then I know I have this much space, so when that pops out, it's going to expose the whole greeting. So then I'm just going to take, since this is a smaller greeting, I'm just going to position it right in the center of my basic white layer. So then it says, Happy Birthday to You. So now let's go ahead and stamp our other greeting. A little something to brighten your day. Let's just stamp that right in the center. And of course, you could really decorate this section up. We're going to layer all our pieces together. This paper's so pretty. Okay, so we're going to put those layers together. Okay, so first we're going to put in our section here, and this is where this is going to go. It's going to go right on these 2 strips of this adhesive. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting this right up against the card. I would put it up against the card and then pull it away just a smidge. So you will see it ever so lightly right there. Can you see that edge of the mechanism a little bit? So that's what you want, because you don't want to hinder the closing part of the card. So we're going to go ahead and remove our backing. Now you could probably use liquid glue for all of these pieces, but I find that they're like intertwined and it's kind of hard, especially with my fingers. Okay, so then we're going to take this piece, and remember, we're going to line it up with the card right here. And see, this is covering all this mechanism back here. So line it up, and then you're just going to pull it away just a smidge. And then just lightly put it in place. and then close the card and make sure it's closing correctly, and then you can press it into place. Got all my sequins in there. So then that's the card with the pop-up in the center. Okay, now we're going to move to the arm piece. Now this is where this piece is going to go on that L shape. Remember, we put that on last. And I'm going to tear this piece off. And you don't want it too big, but you want a long enough piece. You could actually put this on beforehand. So I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to show you exactly right where I'm putting it. Okay, so right on this edge right here of this L shape. Can you see that? So then this is where this is going to sit, right over top of that adhesive. So of course we got to remove the backing. And then you're going to slide this in. Now you can see, you can't really see on the video, but when you're actually making it, you can maneuver this around so you can actually see right where you're adding the arm right here. So you can put that in there and then kind of lightly press again. And you want to make sure it's going to close correctly so you can see it's already moving up. And then once you get it closed, then press that down again. Oh my gosh, I love this card. So then you have your interactive card on the inside. Isn't that awesome? Oh my gosh, I love it. So cute. All right, so that's it. That's how you make that mechanism for the pop-up wiper swing arm card inside. Love it. All right, so let me show you the other ones again, give you some more ideas. Okay, so now here's the Bermuda Bay one. Same idea, just not as sparkly, right? This one I used It's Your Birthday, and that's from the Awesome Otters that just retired from Celebration. And then the Forever Friends is from the Turtle Friends, I believe it is. So that's what that one looks like. And then here's the one with the monkeys. I love hanging around with you. Now I used the Hey There, what I used on the border on the front of the card, so I stamped that on the inside as well. Kind of bring that in together. But you could really gussy these up. As long as you're not interfering with the mechanism that actually moves. But this piece you can add, you know, layers, pop-ups, whatever. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll also have all the items listed down below. Also, if you go to my website and there's a link in the description box, I have a PDF that has all the measurements of this mechanism, as well as a picture. It's probably not that clear, but once you go to my blog, I'll have it posted over there so you can look at it a little bit more up close. But in the picture, in the printout, tells you all the little measurements and where to put the tear and tape and stuff. And then, of course, a picture of the card. And then the second page is all the measurements. I don't quite say like where to score and, you know, for that V part. Yeah, so it's almost like a visual part for that section. All right, but hey, click on that link down below and that will take you to my website and you can print off that PDF as well. And if you like today's video, give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.